From Ticker News with Aaron Young, this is Ticker Today.
Hello, thanks so much for joining me. Frustration and new tariffs. That's a message from the Oval Office as President Trump now hits out at Russian President Vladimir Putin. He's criticised Putin's remarks about Ukraine's leadership, indicating it could hinder any potential deal. Meanwhile, President Trump says he has no plans to fire officials involved in a security chat where sensitive military plans were shared. In the Australian election race, new YouGov modelling suggests a swing back to the Labor Party with a potential majority government now within reach. We'll be joined by Professor Tim Harcourt from UTS. Elon Musk merges his AI startup XAI with his social media platform X, valuing the AI company at a staggering $80 billion. On the markets, investor sentiment in the US causing concern for Australian shares. Predictions of a significant drop. You are watching Ticker Today, the latest news, business and tech shaping our world. Let's get started. First today, President Trump has expressed his frustrations towards President Putin, suggesting that he might impose secondary tariffs on Russian oil if a ceasefire in Ukraine isn't achieved. He criticised Putin's remarks about Ukraine's leadership, indicating it could hinder any potential deal. Trump stating that if he believes Russia is at fault for the ongoing conflict, he will implement significant tariffs on Russian oil imports to the United States. As one of the top global oil producers, Russia's oil industry could face severe consequences affecting the wider market and also inflation levels. Meanwhile, a recent truce agreement has been established between Ukraine and Russia, but the Kremlin demands sanction removal before any compliance. Here's NBC's Kristen Walker, who spoke with President Trump and detailed that conversation on Meet the Press.
Just hours ago, President Trump called me to tell me he is, quote, pissed off with Russia's President Putin and threatened to impose secondary tariffs on Russia's oil. Quote, if Russia and I are unable to make a deal on stopping the bloodshed in Ukraine, and if I think it was Russia's fault, which it might not be, but if I think it was Russia's fault, I am going to put secondary tariffs on all oil coming out of Russia. Mr. Trump said 25% tariffs on Russian oil could happen any moment and told me he plans to speak with President Putin this week. The president told me, quote, I was very angry, pissed off when Putin started getting into Zelensky's credibility and started talking about new leadership in Ukraine.
Meanwhile, Donald Trump says he has no plans to fire officials involved in a security chat where sensitive military plans were shared. He expressed indifference towards potential price hikes as well by foreign automakers due to newly imposed tariffs, suggesting they would encourage purchases of American-made vehicles instead. Trump reiterating that tariffs would be permanent, defending the measures as a fair response of long-standing economic imbalances. Now, he's also revealing ongoing conversations about potentially annexing Greenland, stating that achieving this goal is still on the table. Rebel forces have declared a 2-week ceasefire in Myanmar to facilitate humanitarian aid for victims of the country's devastating earthquake, which has claimed more than 1,700 lives. The People's Defence Force plans to cease offensive operations but will remain ready to defend. Approximately 3,500 people reported injured, with fears that fatalities could now rise significantly as ongoing aftershocks continue to impact the region. The US Geological Survey warning the death toll could exceed 10,000, adding to the widespread concern over economic losses. As the junta now seeks support for rebuilding infrastructure, ASEAN has held emergency talks to enhance assistance, with representatives from Thailand and Malaysia now planning to visit Myanmar soon. Elon Musk has announced that his artificial intelligence startup XAI is merging with his social media platform X, valuing the AI company at a staggering $80 billion and X at $33 billion. The merger aims to combine their advanced technologies and extensive reach, potentially unlocking significant opportunities. Both companies now privately owned by Musk, the transaction likely a stock swap, benefiting the existing investors. With XAI now competing against industry giants and developing new AI products, Musk's ambitions are continuing to expand in this space. The merger also raising concerns among environmental advocates about the rapid pace of development and its impact on these communities. Investor sentiment in the US causing concern for Australian shares, with predictions of a significant drop. S&P ASX 200 futures indicate a 1.1% decline following a difficult Friday for US markets, where the S&P 500 fell by 2% there as well. The downturn linked to a surprising inflation report showing a 0.4% rise in February, pushing consumer confidence to a two-year low. Local stocks may struggle, potential support for mining stocks as well as commodity prices rise, especially gold hitting record highs. Donald Trump now gearing up for his Liberation Day tariffs. Listed energy companies are bracing for further pressure with falling oil prices amid global growth worries.